caused the creation of this universe? By her, that is the material energy or the inferior energy. He maintains the creation and conversely dissolves it again and again. And then he inquires about the jiva also. That the pure soul in pure consciousness is never out of consciousness, but added due to circumstance, time, situation, dreams, or other causes. Then how does he become engaged in nations? How does he get entangled? So all these questions which are a doubt in someone who is really sincere seeker in becoming self-realization, these questions will come in his heart. What is such inquiry called? What is this inquiry called? Our number is getting reduced. Now Sonika is not coming, Pranav is not coming, and Manoram is also finding it difficult to come. We are only six on the screen. Your wife is hearing, Purushottam?
No, Prabhu, she is outside.
This is the position. Very difficult to find interest. But I am having very good audience. This is my second day today of Bhakti Shastri. There are at least 50 brahmacharis. And the long session from 1 to 5, at least 4 hour session. And they are hearing with attention. Yes, boliye Dayashil bro.
प्रभु जी सद्धर्म प्रेक्षा
Okay. This will not come in Sadharma Preksha. It is Brahma Jigyasa. It is Brahma Jigyasa. The inquiry about the self, that who we are, what this material creation is, who is the Supreme Lord. Okay, good. Still good answer. So he has further questions. Bhagavan ek aeve avaisha sarvashetreshu avastitha amusya durbhagavatam va klesho va karma bhikuta. Bhagavan ek avaisha. And is Sarva Kshetreshu Avastita. Sarva Kshetreshu Avastita means he is situated in all these Kshetra, means in all the bodies, where in their heart, the region of their heart. The Lord at the Super Soul is situated in every living being's heart. Amusyaha. Here actually directly heart is not spoken in the words. The Sanskrit was Bhagavan ek avaisha sarv kshetreshu avastita. Sarv kshetreshu. Kshetreshu means all the living entities or the living bodies. Avastita is seated. But he is seated in the heart. Why then do the living entities activities result in misfortune and misery? See what a logical question. Huh? When the super soul is seated in the heart of every living entity, then why the living entities activities result in misfortune and misery? The next question put forward by Vidura to Maitreya, why the living entities subjected to so many miseries and misfortunes, in spite of the Lord's presence in their hearts as the super soul? The body is considered a fruitful tree, and the living entity and the Lord as super soul are like two birds seated in that tree. Anyone remembers the verse? Two birds seated on the same tree. What is the verse? Very famous verse. So many times I have spoken about it. Yes, Priyanka, boliye.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna.
मुझे समान वृक्ष पुरुषो निमग्नो
Anishaya. This is the most important word. Anishaya muhyamanaya. Anishaya means that he does not accept the supreme personality of Godhead. So he is muhyamanaya. Jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham. Why? Because he thinks he is the Isha. He is the enjoyer. And where he is thinking that the enjoyment is, if he can eat the fruit which is there on the tree. It is quoted in the second chapter. I think somewhere in around 22 verses. So, Jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham. Asya mahimanaya iti vita shokaha. Immediately all his miseries will be solved, resolved or dissolved. The individual soul is eating the fruit of the tree. He is bhokta. And the super soul, the Lord, is witnessing the activities of the other world. He is drishta. The citizen of the state may suffer miseries for want of sufficient supervision by the state authority. But how can it be possible that a citizen suffers from other citizens while the chief of the state is personally present? This is the question. Please try to understand what the question and what logic is producing. From another point of view, it is understood that the Jiva living entity is qualitatively one with the Lord. And thus his knowledge in the pure state of life cannot be covered by nations. His knowledge in pure state of life cannot be covered by nations, especially in the presence of the Supreme Lord. How then does the living entity become subjected to ignorance and covered by the influence of Maya? This is the big question. By Maitreya Muni, to Maitreya Muni by Vidu. But in the presence of the super soul, how it is that the Jiva is influenced and covered by the ignorance or the influence of Maya. The Lord is the father and protector of every living entity, and he is known as the Bhutabhrit or the maintainer of the living entities. Why then should the living entities be subjected to so many sufferings and misfortunes? It should not be so. But actually we see it happens everywhere. This question is therefore put forward by Vidura for solution. It is for the benefit of all of us. Etasmin me manovidva khidayate jnana sankate tanna paranudha vibho kashmalam manasam mahat. O learned and O great and learned one, my mind is greatly illusioned by the distress of these nations. And therefore I request you to clear it up. This is Pariprashnena. He is asking very relevant inquiries, not only for his benefit, for the benefit of others. Such bewilderment as represented here by Vidura takes place for some living entities, but not for everyone. For if everyone were bewildered, there would be no possibility of a solution by higher personalities. Shri Shukha Vacha Saitam Chodita Shatra. You see, Tattva Jigyasuna Muni Pratyaha Bhagavan Chitta Smaya Nivagata Smaya. So he's saying that the jigyasa or the inquiry that you have put forward, what it is? I said Brahma jigyasa, and Maitreya Muni says Tattva jigyasa, the same thing, Tattva. Tattva jigyasuna Muni. Whom is he addressing? Muni? Okay, Sukdev Goswami saying that this inquiry, after hearing Shukdev Goswami said, O king, Maitreya, being thus agitated by the inquisitive Vidura, at first seemed astonished. But then he replied to him without hesitation, since he was fully God conscious. Since the great sage Maitreya was filled with God consciousness, he had no reason to be astonished at such contradictory questions by Vidura. Therefore, although as a devotee he externally expressed surprise, as if he did not know how to reply to these questions, he immediately became perfectly settled and properly replied to Vidura, Kasminnu Bhagavato Vigyate Sarvamidam Vigyatam Bhavati. This is from Munda Upanishad. Anyone who is a devotee of the Lord knows about the Lord to some extent, and devotional service of the Lord makes him able to know everything by the grace of the Lord. There is one more verse which says, Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Idam Vigyatam. Have you heard or not? Yes, no. Prabhupada writes in many of his purports. Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Idam Vigyate. What does it mean? Dayashil, what it means?
Prabhuji, if one knows about the Supreme Lord, he knows everything.
Very good. Precise. If one knows the Supreme Lord, he knows everything. Or he knows everything which is to be known. What he does not know is not worth knowing. Yasmin Vigyate Sarvam Idam Vigyate, something like that. So here it is saying that Kasmin nu Bhagwan Vigyate Sarvam Idam Vigyatam Bhavati iti. Anyone who is a devotee of the Lord knows about the Lord to some extent, and devotional service to the Lord makes him able to know everything by the grace of the Lord. Although a devotee may apparently express himself to be ignorant, he is full of knowledge in every intricate matter. That is the standard of being a devotee. What it means? He is full of knowledge in every intricate matter. Maitreya Uvacha Seyam Bhagavato Maya Yannayana Virodhite Ishwarasya Vimuktasya Karpanyam Mutabandhana. Sri Maitreya said, certain conditioned souls put forward the theory that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or Maya. And at the same time, they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic. One moment, not just one. Okay. So Maitreya Muni is saying that some of the conditioned souls who are completely captivated by the influence of Maya or illusion, they say that the Brahman or the Supreme Personality of Godhead is overcome by illusion or Maya. And at the same time, they maintain that he is unconditioned. This is against all logic. Where is the logic? If he is unconditioned, how can be influenced by Maya or in illusion? Today we were discussing in the fourth chapter that one who receives transcendental knowledge, then he is completely free from all influence of the three material modes. The influence of three material mode is not there. Not only the material mode does not work on him, also he is free from all types of miseries, the threefold miseries. So how is it that a devotee of the Lord, he becomes so capable, he can surpass the influence of the material nature? So what about the master? This is against all logic. Sometimes it appears that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is 100% spiritual, cannot be the cause of illusionary potency, which covers the knowledge of the individual. So this is another speculation. He cannot be the cause of illusionary potency. But factually, there is no doubt that the illusionary external energy is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. When Vyasadeva realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw the Lord along with his external potency. Who knows the verse? Srimad Bhagavatam, we had memorized this verse. When we were studying this verse, we had memorized this verse. What Vyasadeva saw. When Vyasadeva realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he saw the Lord along with his external potency, which covers the pure knowledge of the individual living entities. Why the external energy act in this way may be considered as follows. So who remembers this verse? Vyasadeva. What was Vyasadev's vision? What he saw? मैं आपको याद है ये श्लोक याद कराया था? बिल्कुल भूल गए? मैंने 100 बार कहा है कि श्लोक का बुक बनाओ, फिर क्या करेंगे? कैसे प्रचार करोगे आप लोग? प्रचार करने के लिए कुछ तो प्रयास करना पड़ेगा. बताओ. श्लोक बताना पड़ेगा भाई. ये श्लोक याद कराया था मैंने आप लोगों को. तो ये ऐसे भूलेंगे? अब तो ऐसे दिखा रहे हो जैसे कुछ अभी पढ़ा ही नहीं है. You find out. I will not reveal it. You find out what is the verse. When the external energy acts in this way, may be considered as follows, as analyzed by great commentators like Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Srila Jeev Goswami. Although the material illusionary energy is distinct from the spiritual energy, it is still one of the many energies of the Lord, and thus material modes of nature, the mode of goodness, etc., are surely qualities of the Lord, because the energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are non-different. ये श्लोक बताओ क्या है? Energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are not different. What is this verse? What is the Siddhanta? चलो वर्ष नहीं बता रहे, सिद्धांत बताओ. What is the principle? हाँ, यस, बोलिए रम्या.
प्रभु जी, potency and potent can become equal in quality, but potency cannot become the supreme potent.
That is true, but what it is being said here, just read the statement which I read.
So the energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are not different. And
Wow.
although such ener-
So what is this
so the
principle?
sub-
Yet, although the material energy is one with the Lord, what it is meaning? Energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are non-different. What it means? What is the verse? सिद्धांत है ना, वो सिद्धांत क्या है?
so the oneness,
वो क्या है? शक्ति शक्तिमान मतयोर अभिन्ना. It is abhinna also and bhinna, both. Achint bheda ved tattva. ठीक, Prabhupada is mentioning here. Although the material illusionary energy is distinct from the spiritual energy, it is still one of the many energies of the Lord, and thus the material modes of nature, the mode of goodness, etc., are surely qualities of the Lord, because the energy and the energetic personality of Godhead are non-different. Yet, although the material energy is one with the Lord, he is never overpowered by it. The living entities, however, also parts and parcel of the Lord, can be overcome by the material energy. This inconceivable yoga Aishwaryam of the Lord, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.5. This slok you should all be knowing. So many times we have discussed. Yoga Aishwaryam. What is the Yoga Aishwaryam? बताओ क्या योग ऐश्वर्यम है भगवान का? जल्दी करो, मेरी बैटरी डाउन है बिल्कुल. अभी जस्ट ऑफिस से आया हूँ, ऑफिस से आके क्लास चालू किया हूँ. सुबह से कंटिन्यूअसली बोल रहा हूँ, एकदम थक चुका हूँ. यस प्रदीप प्रभु.
नचामस्तानि भूतानि पश्चिम में योगमेश्वरम् भूतब्रह्मणश्च भूतभावो भूतात्मा भूतभाव.
अगेन अगेन.
नचामस्तानि भूतानि पश्चिम में योगमेश्वरम् भूतब्रह्मणश्च भूतब्रह्मणश्च भूतभाव.
Verse number is written here, na 9.5. It is written, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakt murtina. I think 9.5 is Maya tatam idam sarvam. Let me see. No, you are right. 9.4 is Maya tatam idam sarvam. Nachamasthani bhutani pashyame yoga aishwaryam bhuta binna cha bhutasto mamatma bhuta bhavana. Yes, correct. This is the one. So please explain. Unmute and speak.
The Lord is the source of everything. भूतब्रह्मणश्च ममात्मा भूतभावना. That he is the source of everything.
Yes, that is true. Okay, let me move forward. The inconceivable yoga Aishwaryam of the Lord, as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.5, is misunderstood by the froggish philosophers. Prabhupada is not living. Dr. Frog. In order to support a theory that Narayan, the Lord himself, becomes a Darita Narayan A poor man, they propose that the material energy overcomes the Supreme Lord. Srila Jeev Goswami and Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, however, offer a nice example in explanation. They say that although the sun is all light, the clouds darkness and snowfall are all parts and parcel of the sun. Without the sun, there is no possibility of the sky being overcast with clouds or darkness. Nor can there be snowfall on the earth. Although life is sustained by the sun, life is also disturbed. Without the sun, there is no possibility of the skies being overcast with the cloud and darkness. Okay. Nor there can be snowfall on the earth. Although life is sustained by the sun, life is also disturbed by darkness and snowfall produced by the sun. But it is also a fact that sun itself is never overcome by darkness, clouds or snowfall. The sun is far, far away from such disturbances. Only those who have poor fund of knowledge say that the sun is covered by the cloud or by darkness. Similarly, the Supreme Brahman or the Para Brahman or the personality of Godhead is always unaffected by the influence of the material energy. Although it is one of his energy, Parasha Shakti Vivideva Surya. Lila 13.65. There is no reason to assert that the Supreme Brahman is overpowered by the illusory energy. The clouds, darkness, and snowfall can cover only a very insignificant portion of the sun rays. Similarly, the mode of material nature may react upon the ray-like living entities. It is the misfortune of the living entity, certainly not without reason. That the influence of the material energy acts on his pure consciousness and eternal bliss. This covering up of the pure consciousness and eternal bliss is due to avidya karma. The energy which acts on the infinitesimal living entities who misuse their minute entities. According to the Vishnu Purana, Bhagavad Gita and all other Vedic literatures, the living entities are generated from the Tatastha energy of the Lord. And thus they are always the energy of the Lord. And are not the energetic. The living entities are like the sun rays. Although as explained above, there is no qualitative difference between the sun and its rays. The sun rays are sometimes overpowered by another energy of the sun, namely by clouds or by snowfall. Similarly, all the living entities are qualitatively one with the superior energy of the Lord. They have the tendency to be overpowered by the inferior material energy. In the Vedic hymn, it is said that the living entities are like the sparks of a fire. The sparks of the fire are also fire, but the burning potency of the spark is different from that of the original fire. Very beautiful example. When the spark flies out of touch of the original fire, they come under the influence of non-fiery atmosphere. Thus, they maintain the potency to be again one with the fire as sparks, but not as the original fire. The sparks can everlastingly remain within the original fire as is part and parcel. But the moment the spark becomes separated from the original fire, their misfortune and misery is begun. The clear conclusion is that the Supreme Lord, who is the original fire, is never overpowered, but the infinitesimal sparks of the fire can become overpowered by the illusionary effect of fire. It is most ludicrous argument to say that the Supreme Lord is overpowered by his own material energy. The Lord is the master of the material energy, but the living entities in the conditioned state are controlled by the material energy. That is the version of Bhagavad Gita. The froggish philosophers who put forward the argument that the Supreme Lord is overpowered by the material mode of goodness are themselves illusioned by the same material energy. Although they think of themselves as liberated souls, they support their argument by the false and laborious jugglery of God, which is a gift of the some illusionary scientist, which is the gift of the same illusionary energy of the Lord. But the poor froggish philosophers, due to the false sense of knowledge, cannot understand this information. In the 6th Canto, 9th chapter and 34th verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Duravodabhiva Vayam Vihara Yoga Yad Ashrano Sharira Idam Aneka Shritimad Samanvaya Atmeva Vikriyamanena Saguna Maguna Sijasi Pasi Harasi. Thus the demigods, while praying to the Supreme Lord, state that although these activities are very difficult to understand, they can still be understood by some extent by those who sincerely engage in the transcendental loving service of it. The demigods also state that although the Lord is apart from the material influence of creation, he nevertheless creates, maintains, and annihilates the example also by the agency of the demigods. I'll stop here. So Maitri Muni has begun to reply. So first he's refuting all the illogical questions which are put forth. Hare Krishna. क्या लिखा है आपने बोर्ड के पीछे रम्या? यस्तम वेद स वेद वेद. ओके. सेकंड,
ये प्रभु से फास्ट की है गुरांगी फास्ट अभी तक प्लान नहीं कर पाई।
ठीक है, करो. बहुत अच्छा है. एक एक दो दो करके कराओ. पुरुषोत्तम, कहाँ है भैया तुम्हारी फैमिली वाले? वो बाहर क्या कर रहे हैं रात के 9:30 बजे? 9 बजे. हाँ,
सिस्टर
भागवतम
आई।
पढ़ रही? अच्छा, ये ब्लैक बोर्ड लगा लो घर में. है बोर्ड, व्हाइट बोर्ड या ब्लैक बोर्ड?
है तो
रोज एक श्लोक लिखा करो, तीनों याद करो.
ठीक हो।
विशेष रूप से पुरुषोत्तम योग का. मेरे हिसाब से तो सबको आ जाना चाहिए पुरुषोत्तम योग. इतने दिन हो गए अगर रोज पढ़ रहे हो तो 20 ही तो श्लोक में. ठीक है. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंद जी. हरे हरे. हरे कृष्ण.